wheelchair users really take priority over buggies on the bus? Let's chat about it. In a recent video that I made, it sparked discourse about who takes priority on the bus in the wheelchair spot that each London bus has that looks like this. Some feel that children always take priority, while others think that wheelchair users deserve the space. The space is large and can, in my opinion, in most situations fit both a wheelchair user and a buggy with some jiggling about. However, what does the law say? UK law states that wheelchair users take priority over a buggy, but that the buggy may use the space until a wheelchair user arrives, as per the sign on each London bus and the TfL website, which states all buses have a wheelchair space available. By law, wheelchair users have priority over this space as it's the only place that they can travel safely. When a wheelchair user is not using the space, you can use it on a first come, first served basis. If a wheelchair user wishes to board the bus, you should share the space. Fold your buggy or move. You will not be asked to leave the bus, but you may choose to do so. If you didn't know, disabled people protested for accessible buses and transport from 1990, with disabled people chaining themselves to buses, and apparently it was not uncommon for the streets to be blocked by disabled protesters, and we were eventually given the wheelchair spot. But what does that mean for buggy users? Does that mean that wheelchair users, quote, hate children, or that we expect you to wait in the cold or get off the bus, as some of the comments on my previous video suggested? Well, also no. A lot of the time there is space for both of us on the bus, as the buses are fairly large. Space for the buggy to go elsewhere, for example, and if there isn't and you are able, then the buggy should be folded down with a child placed on the parent or carer's lap. However, most of the time there is space for both of us without having to do this. Reminder, many trains, taxis and other forms of transport are not wheelchair accessible, so the bus is often the only accessible option for wheelchair users, particularly if their disability impacts their ability to drive. Important to note, some children are actually disabled themselves, meaning that their buggy actually doubles up as a wheelchair. If this is the case, you treat the buggy as a wheelchair user. The child, if they were there first, gets priority. You can buy buggy signs that read, treat this as a wheelchair, to help with any confrontation that you may experience. Some parents may also be disabled themselves and unable to fold down the buggy as a result, so consideration is needed here too. However, in most situations, if able, it is expected that the buggy is either moved to make room for a wheelchair user or is folded down. But most of the time, if we work together, there is normally a solution. I do think there is a question here for if we can actually adapt public transport to make it more accessible for everyone, including buggy users. And I would encourage companies to have both wheelchair users and parents and carers in the room when making choices in the future about buses.